Mayor Pro Tem Gothelf,
Here.
Councilmember Elwood,
Present.
Councilmember Jocelyn,
Present.
Councilmember Colin. Here. Councilmember Rustick,
Here.
Councilmember Torgerson,
Here.
Councilmember Tremolata.
Here.
All council members are present, Your Honor.
Thank you. Well, let's stand for the flag salute. Would you like to lead us to the flag salute tonight, since we're here? Go ahead. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll now move on to the consent agenda. On the consent agenda tonight, we have the minutes of February 2024, payroll from February 2024, numbers 28774 through 28780 in the amount of 288047.17. Checks from March 5th, check number 75259 through 75308 in the amount of $559,200.84. AB 24 motion authorizing contract with parametrics for SF Avenue bypass and Starfish Roundabout project. AB 24-025 motion authorizing contract with RH2 for Tanner Trail extension. AB 24-26 motion authorizing contract with PH Consulting for 2024 pavement overlay, and AB 24-27 motion authorizing contract with PH Consulting for the 2024 RRFB project. Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
All right. So we had a first from Brendan and a second. I didn't get to see. From Mark. Okay, great. So at this point, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed? It's carried unanimous. Before we move on to citizens' comments, as indicated on tonight's agenda, if you're attending remotely and would like to submit public comments, please submit your written comments via in-person drop-off, mail, fax, or email to sopadal@northbendwa.gov by 5 p.m. on the day of the meeting. We're no longer taking public comment for those attending remotely via Zoom unless you have reached out to the city clerk in advance of the meeting to request accommodations. We'll now move on to citizen comments. At this time, if you'd like to comment on any item that's not on the agenda tonight, we'd like to invite you to come forward to the podium. If you requested accommodation with the city clerk and wish to speak during the comments, please raise your hand through the virtual platform and we will take comments after the in-person comments. Please remember to state your name, address for the record, and 3 minutes to speak. Do we have anybody join us? Come on.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'm Rob Watton with Umpqua Bank in North Bend and the founder of Snow Valley Innovation Center. Tonight, I bring greetings from the Snow Valley Innovation Center and thank you for passing the Snoqualmie Valley Economic Alliance. A couple weeks ago, I've got great news. Last week, the Snoqualmie tribe also agreed to the MOU. And so now we have all 5 governments on board. I also have an update and a very positive one. It happens to be right from here in North Bend. We had our first entrepreneur come through our weekly Innovation Fridays that we've been holding for a number of years, but under the pretense of the idea of this economic alliance, we were able to work with her and she went to our partner at Business Impact Northwest. It is a startup and they were able to help fund her dream. She signed her lease contract. It happens to be a new business here in North Bend as a result of that. And that's just a direct response to exactly what we're hoping to do. The second thing, and that is we're moving quickly on the Valley Innovation Project out at Remlinger Farms. It's the first time we are bringing 4 high schools together from Riverview and Snoqualmie Valley. And that's going to happen on April 26th. The launch date of April 26th will feature Pete Nelson of Treehouse Masters as our headline. I've been in consultation with King County, and we're working on getting the county executive to be participating either on the April 26th or May 3rd, and the enthusiasm is building. So we're still recruiting, and thank you to Councilmember Tremolota as being one of the business advisors for the 8 or so groups that we will have. And we're also looking for more advisors from the business community to help out. And it's a 2 Friday commitment, and then during the week, working with the team of kids on the project that will directly impact a local business. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience would like to speak? Seeing none, do we have anybody?
Michael Thomas is online, would like to speak.
Okay, Michael Thomas, go ahead and unmute and state your name, address for the record, and you have 3 minutes to speak.
Sure.
Michael, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Is that correct?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I just want to confirm. Good evening, council members and interested members of the public. I wanted to follow up on a meeting I attended, which was the City Council work study in February. And I highly recommend citizens, take the time to attend a work study, or this was the sort of the introduction for new council members, and quite valuable, as well as any committees such as Public Works or Economic Development. It's really a good way to learn about what's discussed in a more casual forum. I'm detecting some changes in city strategy, and one of the ones I picked up quite strongly was challenges related to developing the parcel for the National Guard, which consists of really 2 facilities: a vehicle maintenance facility to repair National Guard vehicles, and a readiness center, which is a staging area and training center for the National Guard that was intended to be stationed here. I heard of substantial financial challenges related to extending water infrastructure, such as 2-mile-long pipeline, a pumping station, and storage. And frankly, this is all duplicate infrastructure relative to Salal. I'd like the council the next couple of weeks to comment on what is the status of these 2 facilities and timing. Was strongly implied in those meetings that the dates of those might be being pushed out, that the National Guard may be staying longer in their facilities, and other locations may be being sought in engagements with the Port of Seattle, in review of my transcript. The other area that I detected a change in strategy was really more interest in low density residential. And frankly, I'm surprised to hear that direction. For years, folks have been screaming for lower cost housing or mid density or high density residential to address our housing costs. And what I do see, though, even in the upcoming Planning Commission meeting, is an effort to rezone one of the westernmost parcels as LDR. There's other CLDR in the city, and plenty of other LDR that's available that's certainly nearby, as well as housing stock. So I was surprised by this change in direction. I would also like to see really those parcels to be developed that were intended for the National Guard. We really need commercial development, as well as rezone of development in the western part of the city. We desperately need tax revenues and B&O revenues for jobs. And actually, I'm very glad to see the National Guard hopefully being backed away from. There was no revenue for that facility, and it was very close to residential and schools. That really was really inappropriate area. So I would hope that the City Council would talk
Michael,
more about.
Can you wrap up, please?
I'm about to do that, and I would really hope that City Council in the coming weeks would talk more about its plans for development of National Guard and where it's headed on housing and commercial development. Thank you, and this concludes my comment.
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. All right, at this point in time, any other public comments? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to the next agenda on the item, which is an announcement presentation appointments. And tonight we have an appointment to the Economic Development Commission. And basically, the Business Economic Development Commission is comprised of 5 members, each with terms of 4 years. The commission provides recommendations to City Council for city economic growth and development based on specific work plans and projects as assigned to by the City Council. North Bend Municipal Code NBMC 2.30.020 membership states in part, members of the commission shall be appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the council. All members shall be selected without respect to political affiliation and shall serve without compensation. Commission 4 became vacant with the election of Christine Rustick to the City Council. The vacant position was advertised January 9th, 2024. 3 applicants were received. Of the 3 applicants received, only 1 applicant qualified for an interview based upon the requirements established in established in NBMC 2.30.20A that requires applicant have ownership interest in a business located in the city, but not required to be a city resident. Applicant Michael Coons was interviewed by the Mary Miller, Community Economic Developer Director, Deming, Economic Development Manager Henderson on February 14th, 2024. Mary Miller determined applicant Michael Coons was appropriate fit for the appointment of the vacant position. Mr. Coons confirmed his interest in the appointment of the commission, and Mary Miller has recommended it. So tonight we are looking for is Mr. Coons here? Looking to have him appointed. Would you like to come to the podium and talk a little about yourself? Sure. Tell us a little about yourself, I guess.
Hi, I'm Michael Coons. I own The Line Experience, which is the building across the street. We started this company about 5 years ago, my wife and I, in the effort to try and get more people on bicycles and to increase cycling as something that everybody in a community can do. So our whole premise is to create opportunities for bike rentals and to lower the price on a per use basis for bikes. I've been in North Bend with that building for 1.5 years. I bought it. It was a former gas station. We renovated it, turned it into something we hope is really great in a center for the community. And I was interested in the economic development position because I want to see more development of opportunities to bring in investment and businesses into the area and also support the community members here. So more than just tourism and trying to bring more people from outside, but actually build processes and services for people that live in North Bend. So I think everybody enjoys riding bikes. And I know that one of the primary things is outdoor recreation. So I think I can help. So that's sort of where I come from.
All right, thank you. Well, go ahead, Errol, can I get a motion from you? Well, you usually it's Mayor Pro Tem, so I'll go ahead and give you the honor.
Set a motion to approve.
Go first,
Second.
first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay.
What?
Did you?
Point of order, Your Honor. Should we have a discussion period before we?
Yes, my bad. I
Thank you.
jumping to it. So would the person who made the motion like to speak to the motion first on it?
Sure. Well, I've been to The Line. I checked it out early when you guys were starting to renovate, and I think there's still some things going on to finalize, but I'm very excited. I live down in Tanner on the east side, so any sort of happenings on the east side of town is exciting for us. And I'm an avid mountain biker as well. So I think this is a great addition to the group. I think mountain biking community needs to grow here. I think unfortunately, it sounds like we're losing one of our strong local businesses. And so hopefully you can help shed some light on the development and maybe help expand that loss and fill that hole. But very excited. So welcome aboard. Thank you for stepping up.
Who had the second? If you could, would you like to speak?
Sure, I'm excited about you being involved in the Economic Development Committee. Your experience is totally going to be helpful. You just went through the whole process, so you'll be a great advocate for anybody else who wants to start a business here. And you have a lot of energy and you have a great business, so I'm excited that you're on board.
Anybody else wish?
Yes, this was my pause as well. I appreciate the opportunity to comment. Mr. Kuntz, welcome. I too, just in hearing it, get a sense of excitement and enthusiasm with Tenant Trailhead Park coming online, which I know will draw people from outside our community, but also I very much appreciate the explicit interest and statement of concern for supporting the folks who live here and making this wonderful place that we inhabit better for all of us. So I really appreciate your stepping up and filling this important public role. Thank you.
And I'll just say welcome as well. I really enjoyed my time on the Economic Development Commission, and I know you will as well. And you'll make a great addition to the team. Thank you.
Yes, welcome, Mr. Kuntz. And the transformation of the building for Inline is phenomenal, I have to say. Very impressed. And you're perfect for North Bend and all of our growing mountain bike trails. We're going to be connecting throughout the valley. So it's very exciting and your timing is excellent. Welcome.
Yes, I echo all my colleagues' sentiments. Thank you and welcome. We need startup mentalities like your own to come here and to help us grow our community business into better and broader reaches for areas that work with our residents, but also attract outside dollars. I mean, that's a big thing. And tourism is a big deal, but moving beyond that, and then of course, Tenant Trailhead coming online. There's a lot of great things within your business strategy that will work. So welcome aboard and appreciate you then taking another step forward, which is joining the community and putting your brain power to work for the community. So thank you very much for that.
Seeing no other comments, I will call for the vote now. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All those opposed say nay. It's unanimous. Well, Mr. Kuntz, thank you. Welcome. It fits right into our brand marketing for the city. So looking forward to you adding more to value to that. Why don't you step up to the podium and let me give you a pin.
We can pose like this all day.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. I was remiss to do one other thing before I step into the next one, which is presentations from our planning commission, but I figured it's probably, would have been better for us to do this in the beginning to introduce our new finance director. It is my pleasure to introduce our new finance director, Martin Shaw. Martin joined the city yesterday on March 4th, so this is the second day, so he's an expert now, and brings over 30 years of experience in public sector budgeting, financial, public policy, as well as supporting executive management and elected officials in developing and executing public policy. Welcome aboard, Martin, and I do appreciate you being part of everything, doing well from the first day now.
Yes, I'm drinking from a fire hose.
You haven't run screaming out of the door yet?
Not yet. No.
Okay. Well, the rest of the information, but I thought that should have been in the beginning, not at the end. So welcome, and we appreciate you coming on board.
Thank you very much.
All right, the next item on our agenda is a presentation. And somebody gave me a way to make sure I pronounce this, to Commissioner Hannah Teal. So Commissioner Hannah Teal, would you like to come up and I guess you have a presentation for us, so
I
looking
do.
forward to it.
Thank you. So I am Planning Commission Chair this year. And we're excited to just tell you the updates from last year. A couple of you are pretty familiar with this since you just came from the Planning Commission. So I'll try to not make it too redundant for you, but make sure that we have the information for everybody else. Okay, so first I just wanted to talk a little bit about what the Planning Commission is. So the Planning Commission, as you may absolutely know, is a recommending body. It's an advisory board to the city council, to yourselves. We're here to make your lives easier. You know, you guys have a lot of information. You deal with all of the information for the whole city. You make a lot of important policy decisions and decisions for our community. And so we're a board to help you, take some of the edge off of that. So what we're doing is we're looking at land use. So every decision, every application that comes to the Planning Commission is based on land use and how the land makes a place for our community, how this community feels, and how we can incorporate our past, our present, and our future. So those are the things that we're looking at as we look at any application and as we recommend it to you. Growth is inevitable, and we want to make sure that that growth mirrors who we are and provides us the best possibilities for the future. Oh, and I also wanted to thank Ms. Deming, who put together the slides for us. She's a wonderful support for the Planning Commission, and she's just here to support. So I think that we really appreciate all of her assistance, and it truly is a support to us, and it has never felt like she has an agenda to pull. So I just wanted to publicly appreciate her. Okay, so, went too far. So these are our 2023 members. You might notice a couple of names there. Susan Torgerson was chair, and she's now a council member. Olivia Moe is our vice chair. Brian Elward, who is actually has changed his name. He got married, and so it's Brian Fitzgibbon. So if you hear Brian Fitzgibbon, that is the same person. Juliana Pereira and James Boevers and myself, and Errol Tremolata, who also is a council member now. So we're sad to see those two members move on, but we're also very excited for you, and we know that you'll do great things. In 2024, we now have two new members, Stephen Matlock, who is also our vice chair, and Sam White. And Sam White is actually here as well. So our highlights, it was not too busy of a year last year because we are getting ready to overhaul our comprehensive plan, which has been in the works. So I shouldn't say we're getting ready. We are overhauling our comprehensive plan. It's required by law that we review it and make updates. So that's what we're in the middle of. And the comprehensive plan is really, it sets our goals and our vision. It's the skeleton sort of document that we can look at every time we look at new ordinances or policies. So there's not a lot of teeth with the comprehensive plan, but it's important because we want to know where we want to go. And it's comprehensive, meaning that it's our general plan for our community. What do we want our community to look like? So this last year, a housing action plan was reviewed, which you may remember seeing. Now, this picture was a second grade contest at North Bend Elementary School. And this housing action plan, we needed to update it based off the state housing crisis. It's Washington state legislation. The housing plan is policy for infrastructure, grants, impact fee review, It addresses the current state of housing and addresses the future needs of housing, and it encourages construction and affordable housing. So with the individual picture, this is a student, of course, but they are part of our community. So what they're seeing is they're seeing that they want community, right? Recreation is important to them. If you see that little blue little bit, that's a pool. I'm just gonna pause because I'm not gonna push either way, however you voted, but I'm just gonna pause that somebody put a pool on their picture. And, you know, there's rainbows. That's actually one of the things I really love about North Bend is how many rainbows are here. So I definitely appreciate that. And they have a home. And at first look, it looks like that could be a single family home, but then when you look at it, it could be mixed use. It could be an ADU. It could be a townhome. It could be a single story house. But I think the important part about this is that this student said a home is a place where we all know we can be loved and safe. And I think that that's really important as we go forward, that that's what home is. It doesn't matter what sort of house we live in, as long as we know that we're loved and safe and part of this community that is North Bend, it can be a very positive place wherever your home is. So we also went through a parks element update. This is part of the comprehensive plan. And now we have a parks, a whole parks department and a whole parks committee. So it's interesting that it would come to the planning commission since they, you know, that's their scope. However, as I mentioned before, it has come to the planning commission because we deal with land use. So how do parks play into the land use of the city? It's also part of the comprehensive plan, which the planning commission absolutely reviews the entire comprehensive plan to recommend to you, but we are looking at from the lens of land use. So there was a survey, and the things that were important to our community were nature and open space, water and river access, picnic shelters, and pickleball. The parks update includes population growth and forecasts, additional trails and parks, public involvement, the park's level of service, and map updates. There's a number of impacts that are addressed in the parks updates, such as environmental, economic, cultural, surrounding properties. And then there's specific goals like protecting wildlife, recreation, and public participation again. And then parks is so big that there are some parks that have their own plan, such as Meadowbrook and South Fork. So parks is really, it's a big one. There's not really enough time to go through the entire parks update, but that was part of our last year. So shoreline and critical area. This one, it was pretty, there's a lot of public concern about this one. And I think a lot of that concern was based off of homeowners feeling like maybe their rights would be diminished or that we were trying to change a whole lot. You know, as we go through the comprehensive plan and these pieces to it, in no way is the comprehensive plan a eminent domain, right? These are policies to make sure that we're growing well. And as new policies and law comes across, and we look at the plan to make sure that we are doing the right things by what we said that we wanted as a city. So hopefully some of those concerns are mitigated, knowing that we're not just coming in and changing everything. There's a map that's associated with this that does show a number of parcels along the river. And I think that that's where some of the concern comes from. But again, those are just areas that we want to make sure are following our plan. So it has some of the same impacts as the parks element, which is the environmental, the economic, cultural, surrounding properties. And then there was actually just a survey that went through recently, which members that are close to the river and close to the water may have just received. And that was based off of a grant. And that's part of why we do these updates as well, so that we can apply for the grants. And one thing that I really appreciate about these updates is that, again, we want to make sure that we are covering our history and our current and our future. And so the Snoqualmie tribe is always notified and provides a lot of feedback as well, which I think is very valuable. Hey, and economic development. So this is a summary of local economy, population, employment, businesses. It identifies strengths and weaknesses of the policies and programs to foster growth. And then it also has pieces like the downtown master plan and outlet mall. This, again, we have an economic development commission. So it comes to us in the scope of land use. So if economic development wise, it would be, and I'm not saying that this ever came to us, but if they said, oh, it would be a really good idea to bulldoze downtown, like, you know, Main Street, that doesn't really fit with our land use plan. So that would be something that we would be concerned about. Obviously, that has not happened and it probably never will, but that's the kind of thing that we're looking at when it comes to us. And I think that's a summary of what our year kind of entailed. I'll go back to our timeline and ask if there are any questions.
First, a comment. Thank you very much for coming here and giving us an overview of what your focus has been in the last year. I too have served on planning commission, so I can appreciate all the work and effort that you all put into everything that you weigh and analyze and the recommendations you put forward. So I appreciate that. A quick question. You mentioned a survey that was recently. Can you give me a little more context on that? Because
yeah,
I'm not really sure what that one was. That's not the community survey that we launched.
So this was, let's see, we just found out, as planning commission, we just found out February 1st, there was a grant from the Department of Ecology. The part of it was to put together a shoreline master program user guide. So it was addressing information that might be in this user guide to make it easier for people to look and see what's part of the shoreline and critical area elements, what can be done on the shoreline, and you know, what's allowed, what's coming, provides some information on like what our goals are.
But that's already been deployed, the survey?
Yes, I believe it went out a few weeks ago. I can't give you the specific date.
Okay. Thank you. I'll circle back with staff and understand, because I'm trying to understand who all received the survey and what the context of the survey was, so.
Yeah, I know properties that were adjacent to any of the shoreline. So there were, I know for a fact that a few individuals in the neighborhood near mine received it just because they were asking me what it was. But that's the scope of it.
Well, perfect. Thank you very much. And I appreciate that you're collecting data and you're using data to make informed decisions. So well done. But that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will. I just want to say thank you for doing the presentation. That was awesome. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Seeing that, well, thank you for the presentation. Do appreciate it. We've noted that we have a lot of people that come from planning commission that become council members. So I was one that came from there too. So it's a great stepping off place and a great place to learn a lot about the city. So anybody on commissions, I do appreciate your time and energy. It does take a lot of work and we thank you. So thank you tonight.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to our one introduction tonight, which is AB 24-29, motion authorizing contract with River's Edge Environmental Services. Ms. Deming, would you like to give the staff report?
Thank you. The city purchased the subject property located at the corner of East Third Street and Main Avenue North for the purposes of redevelopment for affordable housing. In order to prevent future code enforcement issues, staff recommends demolition of the building, and in preparation of this, the city staff contracted with the consultant to perform an asbestos survey as required by law. They found the structure contains asbestos in 2 different building materials, the glazing material of the windows and various locations of interior plaster. The city contacted bidders in the field of hazardous material abatement and demolition and deconstruction. The low bid was submitted by Rivers Edge Environmental Services, Inc., and after comparison of bids and reference checks, was selected as the successful bidder. Staff recommends this item move forward. I'm happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Council, do you have any clarifying questions at this point? Seeing none, I'd like to ask if any members of the audience would like to comment on this agenda item. We invite you to come forward to the podium at this time. Anybody wishing? Anybody online wishing to comment
Not at this time.
or not? Okay.
Your Honor,
Yeah,
I would like to move approval of AB 24029, authorizing the mayor to enter into a small public works agreement with Rivers Edge Environmental, Inc. to abate asbestos materials and demolish 2 buildings at 230 Main Avenue North in North Bend, Washington, in a form and content approved by the city attorney in an amount not to exceed $39,469.32.
Second.
we have a first from Councilmember Jocelyn and a second from Councilmember Elwood. I will now open it up for any comments. Anybody would you like to speak to the motion?
Certainly, it's, reflects positively on this council's effort to address what we all recognize as one of the most pressing issues we face, which is affordable housing, especially workforce housing for folks in our town. This did come through CED and was approved to come to the main agenda such that that gets a public airing and that folks are made aware of these efforts on behalf of council. It was clarified. I thought it was an important point that it is a balance. The city could decide to not even do this much work and rather put it out to bid and have someone else come and do it. It's the understanding that this is preparing a site such that a contractor will come in with a proposal to move forward with construction of housing. The city does not anticipate further investment in this property, but this was sort of like, we'll go this far to clean it up and make it such that it's attractive to a private interest to come forward. So I wanted to be clear about that. That's we're putting this much in hopes of getting more back. And so I will certainly be voting in favor. Thank you.
Strella, would you like to speak to the motion?
Just 100% alignment and agreement with Councilmember Jocelyn's point of view and recap and assessment of what this is about. So I do hope it passed. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so this came through our subcommittee. I had a couple concerns that I wanted to have a discussion about, but mostly, so I wasn't a part of the discussion for the acquisition of this. I'm not clear as to did this miss due diligence, right, during closing the asbestos? Could it have been part of the closing? But we're here now and we own the property, so I think that's a question not worth asking at the current time. I do want council to consider the money being spent. We haven't done the RFP process yet. We don't have a developer selected. This in some way could be cart before the horse. However, I do think after speaking with staff and voicing my concerns, there is some public safety advantages to this. So after debate at subcommittee and with staff, I will support this. I do think it's the right thing to do to prepare the site, but I do want to caution council to spending future dollars without understanding, really what we're going to be doing with the site, understanding who's interested and what kind of RFP we're looking at. But this is the right thing to do at this point in time, but I just want to make sure we're not spending dollars before we have a clear vision of what the site could be. So I will be supporting this stuff.
Any more other comments? Seeing none, I'll call for the All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. It is unanimously passed. Thank you. Next. Oops. Didn't have that. We're going to move on to mayor, council, and administrative concerns and initiatives. And I'll go ahead and start with Councilman Elwood. Caught you off guard.
Right there. Nothing tonight, Your Honor. Thank you.
Councilman Torgerson.
Yeah, for all of those that are worried about their waste management costs going up, I've been worrying too. And I just wanted to share my thoughts with my household and how we're gonna try and tackle this. We're gonna go with a trash can that's one size lower than what we have now, because we can choose that. And we feel that with the larger waste in yard, we're gonna be able to have less in our normal garbage can. And that will help us with our costs. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. That might be something you might want to do. And I'm hoping my game plan will work and my household will follow what we're supposed to do. I also wanted to let you guys all know that they chose, the North Bend Downtown Foundation chose SIP Suds Inside date. It is May 18th, so put that on your calendar. And lastly, I want to again welcome Martin to the team because we've really needed you for a long time. Thank you.
Councilmember Cullen.
Yeah, I would just like to say congratulations to the Mount Si boys basketball team by becoming state champions.
Yeah.
And congratulations. It's very exciting. Well done.
How many times is that for them? I think it's been at least a three-peat. Councilman Tremont.
I would like to say, thank you very much to Eric and the team at Single Tracks. It's very, sad to see them leaving town, but small business is a very hard business. But they've added so much to the community. I've bought my kids' first bikes there. I think many people have. They've done a great job. I hope they can stay engaged in the biking community to whatever degree possible. I would also reiterate to our neighbors out there that we have to support our small businesses if we want them to stick around, and it's a tough business. So hopefully we take that with note and continue to support our retailers all throughout North Bend. And also very excited about the new small business starting up that Councilmember Watton spoke about. I know that business well, and excited to see the innovation group launching some new businesses here in town. As well, I mentioned it last meeting, but yesterday was the official first day of Snoqualmie Valley Little League, although snow got us. So they are out there today and the rest of the week. So just heed caution. A lot of Little Leaguers out there at Torgerson and all the other fields running around after school. So and also head out and watch some baseball soon. It's going to be fun.
Councilmember Rustic.
Thank you. Just a comment, and thanks to the Snoqualmie Valley Historical Society. If you have not been to check that out, I was able to attend a session on North Bend. It was called North Bend 101, and it was very interesting. And even though I've lived here for many years, I learned quite a bit. So just wanted to share that, and that's all I have today.
Thank you. Councilmember Jocelyn.
Thank you. I'm heartened by Councilmember Torgerson's comment on the waste management contract. Part of what went into my decision-making was that we as individuals living here and in times of stressing our planet do take just a little more personal responsibility, and there's an opportunity here to do so. My family too, will be going to a 20-gallon size can in order to save a little money, but that is part of the nudge. And there is responsibility there and a little more engagement to sort our trash. The materials I have received are proactive and encouraging that sort of engagement. I'm pleased to see that we all get to keep the trash cans that we have, unless of course we're changing sizes, and then we get to navigate that undertaking. But everything I have read is encouraging to me that the new folks, that Recology is engaged, and that's part of why I am pleased to see them coming on board. So I know it's not without stress. And I will just simply reiterate that given the options presented us, they're really cost-wise, it was almost a wash. We didn't choose the more expensive. We chose the better of the two, given that they were essentially equally priced in my mind. So to hang in, we do, or certainly I recognize that it's not insignificant, the daily costs on the people living here. But some of that is at times beyond our control, and we choose to make the best decisions we can based on the information and choices presented to us. So thank you.
David, you got any comments for us?
Nothing tonight, but I am sure glad to have a finance director on board, I'll tell you that. And he's really been wonderful so far. And a good problem solver, a number of things have been resolved already. And I think people on the on his committee are going to love it. He's so well prepared that he's surprising me, and he's getting everything done on time. And I'm really excited to have him here. And the whole team's here. We finally have everybody on the right seat on the bus. And with your strategic plan, I think we're gonna have a great year.
We're setting up Mr. Chow for a lot of work and not missing any deadlines. So great way to set him up. Would you like to say some words, Director Chow?
Oh, great. Thank you.
Just since you're new, well, let's give you a couple minutes to
Thank you. Thank you very
give some
much.
input.
Thank you, Mayor. For the listening public, thank you very much for having me. Just a little bit about myself. I'm a lifelong native of Seattle, born and raised here. Went to all public schools. Graduated from the University of Washington. Received my graduate degree from Seattle University in public administration. As the mayor mentioned, been in public sector for about 25 years. Worked at various municipalities, King County with the budget office, as well as the state legislature. I worked for the state senate for several years. And then at Seattle University, I do also teach a couple classes on public finance for graduate students. But anyway, had a chance to work in all levels of government, but where my love is in the municipal level. And this is where services are really we can really impact services for the community. And I think this is the place to be. So anyway, very happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to serving the citizens of the city.
Welcome. You're working with a great staff. We're lucky for the size of the city we have, the staff that we have on board. So welcome. All right. The next part of the item, I already did part of my notes early because I thought it would be better to point them out at the start, but beginning April 1st, the city of North Bend will begin a new contract for garbage, recycling, and yard waste collection for city residents with Recology King County. Please visit the Solid Waste and Recycling Services webpage on our city website for important dates and helpful resources. Another item is Chat with the Chiefs. This is your opportunity to talk about public safety in North Bend. Stop by the Heartwood Cafe located at 202 West North Bend Way on Thursday, March 7th from 10 to 11 a.m. to meet and chat with Snoqualmie Bend Chief Police, Chief Brian Lynch, who's here tonight with us, and Eastside Fire and Rescue's Fire Chief Ben Lane. Should be a fun event. At this point, we will now recess the meeting for an executive session to discuss collective bargaining negotiations pursuant to RCW 42.30.140 parentheses 1 parentheses 4. The executive session is expected to last 20 minutes and there is no action anticipated as a result of the executive session. The videotaping of the meeting will stop at this time. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.